Since the shooting, two questions are on the minds of many people across the country. How will the children that survive cope with this tragedy? And what may have led the shooter to carry out such an atrocious act of violence? Joining us this morning, Dr. Jennifer Hartstein, child and adolescent psychologist. Dr. Hartstein, good morning to you.
Good morning.
We're beginning to hear that the shooter, Adam Lanza, had Asperger's syndrome. We know that that's a mild form of autism. Do we know anything else about it beyond that?
Well, I think the first thing we have to really say is that Asperger's has no link to violence. Autistic spectrum disorders have no link to violence. So we want to really diminish this thing that because he was Asperger's, he created this crime. It's not really the truth. The fact is Asperger's, people with autistic spectrum disorders have harder time with social skills, have a harder time understanding how to read those social skills, but they can be super smart, very caring, very loving people. So one does not beget the other automatically, and we have to really be mindful of that.
We often see in the cases of mass shootings afterward, people look back and they go, did anybody see this coming? So in this situation or scenario, as we look forward, what do you look for in someone? And this is for parents, friends, family members. What are the key signs that somebody is screaming for help?
It's a really good question, and there's so many different things we can look for. So if you have someone who's really socially isolated, doesn't have a lot of friends, that doesn't mean they're gonna be violent, but we wanna make sure that there's somebody that they can rely on. So these loner types that we keep hearing about over and over again, what is it that's keeping them from connecting to other people? Can they regulate their emotions? Can they establish relationships? Can they feel compassion and love? Those are all things that are gonna help them build relationships, build hope, have something that's a foundation, and we don't know how much that did or did not impact the choices that this young man made.
Monday, we had some of the first funerals for a couple of the young victims. What do you tell a child coping with the loss of another child? How do you deal with that?
It's so hard, and I feel so badly for the parents that have to do that because so often it's the siblings too. So there's no way to make sense of this for most of us, and I think that some people will turn to religion and faith and say, they're in God's hands, and that brings them solace. Other people just have to say, we don't know why this bad man did this, but we are sad for the loss of your brother, friend, sister, whomever, and we're gonna have to continue to move forward and be sad and miss them and honor their memory as best we can.
And you know, doctor, this really scares kids, and not even kids that are directly involved, kids that may have seen this on TV and they're afraid that this kind of situation, something like this can happen to them or at their school. How do you ease a child's anxieties? And it's not just young children here either.
And I think it's parents. The fact is that the kids might be okay-ish, right? They might be okay to show up at school, and the parents are so much more nervous because they're now out of my way. I don't have my hand on them, and I can't control what happens to them if they're not in my hands. So I think the way to reassure young children is to say, everyone around you is working to keep you safe. We are going to do everything we can. Your teachers are going to keep you safe. We're going to keep you safe. We're all going to do the best we can to protect you. And for some kids, you may have to say that the bad man who did this in Newtown is gone and he can't come and harm them there.
I actually know some friends and I have some family members, they won't let their children watch any of the coverage. They won't let them turn on the TV and see this. Is that the way to go? Is there something that you should avoid actually showing or telling children at this point?
You want to be careful how much you tell, especially for really little kids. There's information overload. There's information overload for all of us, let's be honest. So the fact is that shutting off the TV is okay. Not discussing it is risky because they're going to hear it. Maybe they have an older sibling. Maybe they're at the pizza place and they can read and they see the ticker that says these children are dead. We don't know where they're going to get the information, so you want to be the first line of information if you can be. So you want to very kindly and gently say to especially a young child, something bad happened to a lot of children in Connecticut. We feel very sad about it. We are going to make sure that you're okay as best we can, and let us know if you have any questions. And also ask them what they know, because they might know more than you realize, right. And you don't need to tell them that much. You just need to provide reassurance.
So much information that's out there. Dr. Jennifer Hartstein joining us this morning with some insight. It's good to see you. Thank you so much.
Nice to see you too.